All right, this is your day 6/7 homework tutorial. Your assignment was to do page 753, problems 1 through 21 odd. So, yes, I know the answers are in the back of the book, but sometimes you need a little assistance as to how they get the answers. So that's what I'm helping you with. So for number 1, we're going to find x. Number 1, we're going to have to use theorem 10. I believe, don't quote me, we're going to use theorem 1015 for two chords. And it said when you have two chords, it's part times part equal to part times part. So on this example or problem, the parts would be RV with VT, SV with VU. So if I actually write down what they are, RV is 4, VT is also 4, SV is X, and VU is 8. So it's 4 times 4 equals X times 8. So now let's figure out what X is and get it by itself. So we'd have 16 is equal to 8X. And if we divide both sides by 8, we would get 2 is equal to X. On number 3, it's an example of 1017 where we have a tangent and a secant. And according to the rule, it's going to be tangent squared equal to outside times the whole secant. In other words, kj is squared, because that's your tangent on number 3, is equal to the outside portion of your secant, which is hj, times the whole secant, which is gj. So if I replace it with the actual information, kj is 6, so that's 6 squared, is equal to hj, which is 4, times gj. Well, part of gj is x, the other part is 4, so the whole thing would be x plus 4. So times x plus 4. So now let's work it out to get x by itself. So I would square 6, which is 36. Distribute the 4 on the right, gives me 4x plus 16. Subtract 16 first on both sides would give me 20 is equal to 4x. Then divide both sides by 4, and you would get x is equal to 5. We're going to omit number 5 on this assignment and keep on moving. All right, number 7 is next. Number 7 again is an example of 1015 because we have two chords. So it's part times part equals part times part. So in this case, those parts are MR times RP, and it's equivalent to NR times RQ. So if I fill in the values, MR is 6. RP is X. NR is 3. RQ is 10. So that's the equation. So let's multiply. You have 6x is equal to 30. Divide both sides by 6. So you would get x is equal to 5. Number 9 is another example of 10, 15. Part times part is equal to part times part. So in this case, it would be JB together with BL is equivalent to KB together with BM. So JB is X, BL is X plus 10, KB is X plus 2, BM is X plus 7. On the left side, we simply just need to distribute the X into the parentheses, and you get X squared plus 10X. On the right, we have to use the FOIL method or the box. I will demonstrate the box again real quickly. But next time I probably won't. I'm just going to use the FOIL method, which is a little faster for me under these circumstances. So for the box, you put x plus 2 on one side, doesn't matter which side, and then you do x plus 7 on the other, and carry out the multiplication in parts. So x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times 2 is 14. So you would get x squared. Combine your like terms, 2x and 7x, so that's 9x. And then plus 14. Now we need to get our x squareds together since they're on two different sides. So we would subtract. And when you subtract, you should notice that they cancel each other out, which is great. Helps us out. Save some time right now. So bring everything else down. So that leaves us with 10x is equal to 9x plus 14. Now subtract 9x from both sides. You would get 1x is equal to 14. So we're done. Number 11, you have two secants. So we're going to use 10, 16, which we haven't practiced yet. 10, 16 says outside times whole secant is equal to outside times the whole secant. So ow equals ow. All right, so the outside portion of the secant would be LK. The whole secant would be LJ. That's the secant on the left. Now on the right, we have LM is the outside portion, and the whole portion is MN. I'm sorry, LN. So outside whole, outside whole. So now let's replace them with their values. So LK is 2, LJ is 2 plus 12, so 14. LM, I can't recall what it said before my pencil got on it. All right, it's X. times the whole thing would be x plus 6. So now we multiply 2 and 14, we get 28. On the right, you distribute the x, you get x squared plus 6x. Now, if you notice, I don't have x squared on both sides. So on this situation, you're going to have to subtract 28 from each side. And essentially, you're getting everything on the same side of the equal sign. And doing so, you're going to have 0 is equal to x squared plus 6x minus 28. So we're going to have to use the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula says x is equal to opposite b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So what I would do if I were you is everywhere there's a variable, open a set of parentheses. Because this is how you're going to put it into the calculator. And then once that is set up properly, identify your ABCs. And it goes in order from largest to smallest. So A would be 1, B is 6, and C is negative 28. So now we need to insert them into the formula in their correct places. So B comes first and second, followed by A, which is 1, followed by C, which is negative 28. And then at the bottom, you're going to put A again, 1. So now we grab our calculator and enter this in. You can do it in stages or all at once. The choice is yours. And I'll show you how to correctly enter it all in at the same time. So go to alpha y equals, select 1 for the fraction setup. Type your negative sign, open your parentheses, type 6, close your parentheses. Now you can only do the plus or the minus. You can't do them both. So let's do plus first. Now square root. And we're going to open our parentheses again, put 6, close our parentheses, square it, hit the minus sign, 4, open parentheses, type 1, close parentheses, open parentheses, type negative 28, close parentheses, drop down to the denominator. We're going to type 2, open parentheses, times 1, and hit enter. And we get roughly 3.1 because it said round to the tenths. So now we're going to hit second enter so we don't have to type everything all over again. Now we need to change it from plus to minus and hit enter. Now it says negative 0.1. Now to be honest, in Algebra 2, negative 9.1 is an acceptable answer. But for now, since x represents a distance, it's not okay to have a negative distance. So we only want the answers that are positive. With that being said, the only answer we're going to use is positive 3.1 as our final answer. And that was number 11. On to number 13. Number 13, we have a tangent and we have a secant. So it's 1017 again. The tangent is CD. So it'd be CD squared is equal to the outside part of the secant, which is x, or sorry, CB, times the whole secant, which is CA. So CD is 12, so that's 12 squared equal to CB, which is x, times CA, x plus 12. So we square 12, we get 144. Distribute x, you get x squared plus 12x. Again, we have a quadratic situation, so we must subtract 144 to get 0 equals x squared plus 12x minus 144. So we have to use quadratic formula again. A is 1, B is 12, C is negative 144. So again, the quadratic formula, x is equal to opposite b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's get our parentheses ready. And now let's insert our values. 12, 12, 1, negative 144, and 1. And grab our calculator. So negative 12 plus the square root of 12 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 144 divided by or over 2 times 1. And we get roughly 7.4. So don't forget that. Now second, enter, and let's change it to minus. No, come back. Stop moving. I don't know what's going on with this. It's being a little stubborn right now. All right, change it to minus. And you get negative 19.4. So we're only going to use 7.4. So x is approximately 7.4. I'm going to pause right here and come back with the rest later. About halfway done.